Welcome to the Soul Archaeology podcast, a space for connection, resonance, witnessing, and learning. Together we'll harvest medicine from the spiral of life, sharing conversations with other embodied humans who have navigated their own initiations and found alignment with their true soul essence. With weekly astrology, energy updates, embodied conversation, and channeled teachings, this is a space for you to land and find resonance with the spiral of your own soul. Hello, welcome back to Soul Archaeology. Happy February. We made it. We survived. To be totally honest, I was not expecting January to deliver as much chaos as it's delivered. Even as an astrologer and even as someone who tunes in pretty regularly and deeply into the collective pulse, it's been a wild ride. I think, personally, I've just been kind of like rocked a little bit with the happenings here in Los Angeles and, being displaced for 2 weeks and coming back and having so much uncertainty, a lot of movement in my home, in my community, a lot of people leaving, a lot of people, pausing their lives here, and a lot of people emerging and beginning again. So personally, I've been feeling a lot, and I am deeply, deeply immersed into the waters of Pisces and this really quite pivotal year, this landscape that we find ourselves within. I have my personal North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo, so I'm in my nodal return, and I have felt it deeply, deeply since it began. I'm also in my Saturn square and getting ready for a Pluto square too. So all of these things are, pretty normal occurrences for this time in life, but it's a pretty pivotal time. And I know I've been speaking to many of you who also feel this, that there are rumblings of this year that are kind of shaking you down to your deepest roots. And so being challenged in just about every single way possible is how we emerge, how we grow, how we rise from the ashes of what was as Phoenix and find the healing grace through these deeply challenging and painful times. My partner and I have been rewatching Harry Potter. He's actually never seen the movies, and it's just been really fun to kind of dive deep into that world once again. I got the books pretty early on. My aunt traveled a lot, and she was kind of in the know and got the books for me before they were really popular here in the States, or the first book at least. And it's been really, really interesting for me to travel back to that world, that timeline of Harry Potter. And I know it might sound kind of silly or cliche with, doing the work that I do, being into Harry Potter land right now, but there have been so many weavings of that storyline that actually weave into me now and the work that I do. It's also very Piscean, very Neptunian. And it's very much reflective of the age that we're in. I think so many of us who grew up on those books or, had them in their consciousness, in some of our more pivotal developmental years are now seeing that world come to life more and more. And so it's very fascinating. And where I was going with this is I was watching one of the movies a few weeks ago, and there's a point where Harry deepens into faith more and more, and he fully surrenders to death, essentially. He surrenders to his mission. He surrenders to death. He surrenders to faith. And a phoenix comes and heals his wounds with its tears. And I just think that there's something so profound about that. And there's this idea that we can truly rebirth ourselves over and over and over, even in our deepest points of despair, especially at those points when we land at the bottom of a descent, of a time that feels particularly challenging or painful. Those are the spaces when we receive basically everything we need. We just have to listen, and we have to be open, and we have to fully surrender to something higher, something outside of our own ego, outside of our own walls of comfort. And this is 2025, the beginning point, the end point, the death of one world and the beginning of another. I've actually felt really emotional preparing for this episode today. I've been doing a lot of research around different points when we experienced these Neptunian transits with the North Node and Saturn and how they interact with one another, and just kind of sitting with my own personal experience over the last few weeks and what I've had to really surrender to and tend to. And in so many ways, I feel that this timeline that we're on, which can feel so painful and so uncertain, is what we've been waiting for our entire lives. We're seeing the dissolving of the old, the old structures, of the old timeline reality that we've lived within for the last few hundred years, probably few thousand years. And how lucky are we to live within a golden age of humanity, where we get to witness these changes unfold. We get to participate in this great collective shift. We get to dissolve more and anchor more light. We get to be the conduits for this great awakening. And when we're in our full humanness, it can be so painful. It can be so hard to truly release and surrender to the unknown. It can be so hard to let go of the ego, which wants to keep us safe in these perfect little boxes of familiarity where we've been before, even if it looks different. The medicine of this North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo is poignant. It's tangible. We can feel its presence in everything that we do. Where are we gripping to something? Where are we afraid to take the leap? Where are we keeping ourselves small? Where are we grasping for familiarity, the known, consistency? How do we respond to chaos? We're in a major upgrade period, transitioning from one age to another. We're in the in-between space. The beginning of a golden age is emerging, a time of great transformation, death, but also rebirth. When our individual and collective consciousness is expanding rapidly. Every day it seems that a new unprecedented event occurs. And this is a lot for our human ego. It's a lot for our nervous systems. It's a lot for our immune systems. It's a lot for our physicality to hold so much change, so much uncertainty, and so much upheaval. Anything we try to grip to will create suffering. Impermanence is our true medicine. The contrast is so significant, the light and the dark. And we have to choose which one we're leaning into. We also have to remember that oftentimes to get to the light, we must move through the darkness. We can focus on what's dying, on what's leaving, on what we are losing, or we can focus on what we're creating, I really see it as both. We have to honor what was and what has been, our ancestors, the way things have unfolded in the past, the ancient wisdom, the land wisdom, while leaning into the wisdom we have not unlocked yet, the wisdom that we hold within our consciousness that has not come to light fully, the wisdom from our universe, from God, from Source. So just like how we have to honor both the darkness and the light, we also have to honor the death and the rebirth of this time. We are bridges here to facilitate this upgrade for the earth, for ourselves, for our collective. And we each individually hold keys to this collective upgrade. When we unlock our own personal evolution, we unlock the wisdom for our collective consciousness. We unlock the spark of life, of light. And this is what I really try to teach in my work, is how we can each individually unlock our own keys, our own evolutionary keys, where we can heal more, love more, create more space for light and awareness, knowing that that creates a ripple effect throughout space and time. It enables us to move through life with more love, leading with love, responding with love, servicing our friends and families and communities with more love. 2025 is a bridge year, so this is our time. This is where we embody our work. So often we can teach these things or speak about these things, but when it plays out in our own lives, we're met with this full surrender, this invitation to truly let go, to truly trust more deeply in the great cosmic rhythm. And this year is go time. This is where we put so much of our learning and experience and preparation into action. I know many of us have been preparing. We've been training in many ways. It is like Hogwarts. We've been preparing. We've been training. We've been learning new skills, new tools, new ways to access the wisdom already within us. Now is the time we apply it. When we see the world falling apart all around us, how can we go within and access those tools? That is the work. Don't forget how powerful you are. Bringing it down a little bit more micro. February, in many ways, is a bridge month. It's a liminal month. We're swimming in the late degrees of Pisces. Mars does go direct on the 23rd of February, but Venus is already in her shadow. She entered on January 28th. Venus goes retrograde on March 1st. So, like I said in the forecast episode, the beginning of this year is this watery liminal space. A time of great unknown, a time of introspection and going within to harvest some of the tools and the medicine that we've been building and utilizing. We're swimming in these deep Piscean waters, unsure, maybe unclear, perhaps formless. Maybe just getting some whispers or nudges, but not full direct clarity. This month will begin to reveal where we're being called to expand, dream, deepen. This work really involves dissolving heart walls. I've talked about that with this Mars retrograde in Cancer. I've talked about it leading into this Venus retrograde in Aries and Pisces. On February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Venus is conjunct Neptune in the North Node. She is asking for us to dissolve our illusions, our heart walls, to fully embody unconditional love. And that doesn't mean that we just walk around with an open heart and give everything. It means that we hold firm boundaries. We have a strong, straight spine that holds our heart within our beautiful ribcage, this basket that's been divinely woven for us to protect. But that we notice where we are protecting from wounding or fear, and opening more and more to embody more love. I'll talk more about Venus retrograde in the coming weeks as we near that point. But it's important. The work, of course, of this time is knowing when and how to remain open, an open heart, a straight spine, strong boundaries. Knowing that when we're open, we're a conduit for light. When we close, we hold density. Our 3D reality is dissolving, so we're experiencing the subtle realities more and more. Does it feel sometimes like you're watching a movie, or that you can feel magic playing out, but you're not quite sure? The contrast is strong. We have a lot of darkness emerging as more light enters the planet. So it can feel like it's all dark. I encourage you to find the light because that's what grows. Light is always present. So this week, even more micro, we have Venus meeting with Neptune and the North Node right before it enters Aries on February 4th. This is where it will station retrograde in Aries. So this is significant. This 28-degree point is very significant this year. And this transit is one of the most significant transits of 2025. More so the North Node and Neptune conjunction because it lasts a little bit longer. Those celestial bodies move slower. But with Venus in the mix this week, early this week, we get this energy focused on and applied to our relationships, our creativity. We'll be in deep relational review when Venus stations retrograde on March 1st. As she meets with the North Node and Neptune in 28 degrees Pisces this week, she really creates a powerful portal of divine feminine activation before she enters the cardinal fire sign of Aries. This time is really asking for us to evolve how we relate and receive, opening to the higher heart, to higher forms of love, releasing these karmic relational patterns, dissolving illusions around love, increased sensitivities, clearing old patterns before new beginnings. It's interesting because this Pisces Aries threshold is such a significant threshold for 2025. So Venus entering Aries and starting her retrograde on March 1st will reveal a lot of the themes we all will be navigating this year, really into 2026. That's when Neptune and Saturn enter Aries together at the 0 point. This year they still retrograde back into Pisces. But it's encouraging us to dissolve illusions, to build foundations for authentic relationships, clearing our relational karma, which is a big part of this collective healing, this upgrade in this golden age that we're entering into, clearing generational trauma and the relational trauma that comes along with it that's bound to that trauma. This week, we also have Jupiter going direct, which is very significant. Jupiter entered Gemini last summer and retrograded in October of 2024. So Jupiter has been retrograde since October 9th of 2024. It stations direct on February 4th at 11 degrees Gemini. So wherever Gemini lands in your chart, Jupiter has been having you examine your relationship with abundance and expansion within that space. encouraging you to go within and dissolve illusions around expansion. What keeps you bound to old ways of being within that space? Your relationship with limits. Jupiter and Saturn have been dancing in this square since August. Where have you felt limited, stuck, stagnant? I have a feeling it's where Gemini is in your chart. As we know, when a planet is retrograding, it's bringing us into our subconscious layers related to that planet's energy. So it's having us look within. It's having us look at where we are participating in these patterns, where we are perhaps even attached to them. I've been doing major subconscious work around money and resources. Jupiter in Gemini lands in my 8th house. It's also my natal Jupiter. So I've been in that portal of breaking down anything that makes me feel like I am limited. I quite literally feel like I've been swimming in a subconscious soup for over a year. As Jupiter emerges from its underworld journey, as it stations direct, it's going to deliver us some insight, some knowledge, some wisdom that it's gained. It will open new pathways for expansion, with Gemini being related to learning, connection, communication. It can activate the acceleration of learning and how we exchange information, the expansion of communication channels. New perspectives can emerge, mental expansion, how we form connections, and what we believe is possible within our own lives, especially where this lands in your chart, your natal chart. So wherever you have Gemini, this is where you're going to get pushed a little bit to expand, to think outside of the box, to notice perhaps where you are keeping yourself small. We'll experience a significant shift in how information and wisdom flow within us. It really comes at a pivotal moment as well, just after that potent Aquarius new moon, and while Pluto and Mercury are still dancing together in Aquarius. So this stationing direct by Jupiter is almost like an opening, like a green light for expansion through learning and connection. Things feel very emotional right now with Mars retrograding through Cancer. This forward motion of Jupiter is going to feel like a lightening of the energy, a softening, a release even perhaps. And then at the end of the week, we have on February 7th, the North Node and Neptune conjunction officially. It's been building for a few weeks, and this is the exact conjunction at 28 degrees of Pisces. These are both slow-moving celestial bodies. Neptune is a slow-moving planet. It takes about 14 years to move through a sign. The North and South Node are not celestial bodies. They're actually mathematical points connected to the moon. But it takes 18 months for them to move through a sign. It takes them 18 years to complete a full cycle. And both of these energies are sort of subterranean. They're ethereal, formless, elusive energies. This is a deeply spiritual realignment period. The North Node directs us. It moves us forward. It can be quite pushy. Because it's focused on our evolution. It has an agenda, I guess you could say. So when the North Node is evolved, it's going to push us out of our shadow and into our light. It's going to have us reckon with the patterns and behaviors and the things of the past, the South Node, that are no longer serving. It gives us a clear and direct path to enlightenment, awareness, love, alignment. Neptune, on the other hand, is not direct. It's not clear. It's like vapor or mist, whispers. It's the little insights and signs that we get in our dream space. It's the spiritual connection that we might not be able to fully explain but know deep within our bones. The North Node is destiny, our North Star, and the Neptune is formless. When these two interact, we are getting subtle hints and signs, nudges, whispers about our spiritual path, about our soul's evolution. We are in Saturn Neptunian times. We're completing a cycle that began in 1989. I know many of you listening probably have that conjunction in your charts if you were born between 1989 and 1990. We're completing the cycle and beginning a new one with Neptune and Saturn conjoining again at the late degrees of Pisces and officially at 0 degrees of Aries next year. These are sobering times. Looking back on history, these Neptune-Saturnian times have not been the most pleasant. They've been times of darkness, of deep emergence into the collective shadow, the collective unconscious. But they've also been quantum leaps in evolution. They're quite sobering because both of these planets dissolve one another. Saturn is so real and tangible and tactile. It quite literally is real. It's reality, the physical plane. Neptune is the unseen. It's dreams and illusions. It's vapor. So Saturn dissolves Neptune's illusions and dreams. It forces it to sort of form something. And Neptune dissolves Saturn's precision and structure. Neither really like this interaction, but it's leading us somewhere. I'll talk a lot more about this in the coming months as we do this Saturn-Neptune dance more and more. So the North Node, which is at 28 degrees of Aries, is healing and destiny, meets with Neptune now, and then Saturn in April. Our deepest karmic secrets are being unlocked. I mentioned before that we all have our own codes. We all have our own soul blueprint, and we have the keys to unlock those spaces so that we can assist in this collective healing. This time, this week, the next 10 days during this conjunction, our deepest karmic secrets are being unlocked. This conjunction's really trying to help us understand the big questions. I highly, highly recommend keeping a dream journal next to your bed. We're getting so many downloads through our dream space. I just last night got this download about my work and a course that I want to create, and it just came in the very last moments before waking. This is the energy of the North Node and Neptune together. It's little hints, little nudges. It might not be crystal clear. We might not get a direct agenda or mission, but we're starting to get hints, and it's a very important time to practice deep listening. The North Node asks us to go deeper. It has us ask more questions, to learn more, to challenge ourselves more. It's a bit pushy, like I said. It pushes us to heal, to evolve, to grow, to align with our destiny. When it joins with Neptune, it's going to ask us to dream bigger. And also, it will reveal where we're holding ourselves back, where we're blocking ourselves, where we are afraid, we're moving and operating out of fear, where we're stuck in the past or illusion. This is a karmic key point, a significant transit, one of the most significant transits of this year, and one that has the potential to unlock our evolutionary coding. But it, like I said, it might not be clear. It's going to be subtle, muted even. These are slow-moving outer celestial bodies. They rule outer themes, life themes. This might not be something that you see in your daily life, but it's something that is trickling into your consciousness. So it's important to pay attention. Look for hints, especially in your dream space, like I said, nudges and glimmers, whispers. This is a karmic realignment point. It's an opportunity to dissolve old karmic patterns, the South Node. Where is the South Node in your chart? Where is Virgo in your chart? This is what you're releasing or letting go of. It's also activating deep collective spiritual wisdom. Where is Pisces in your chart? This is what's being activated. It's enhancing your intuitive downloads. The North Node in Pisces is going to make us all more psychic. It's dissolving those boxes and sort of perimeters that we create within our own mind. The veil is definitely thin during this transit. It's also pushing us more towards unity consciousness, activating the higher heart, seeing our shared oneness, what makes us similar rather than different. It's also having us look at our spiritual illusions, where we spiritually bypass, where we have created our own ego boxes within our own spiritual journey as well. This is completion energy at the late degrees of Pisces. So before Neptune enters into Aries in March and before Saturn enters Aries in May, the North Node is going to be delivering lessons. What happens now is really laying the framework for the work we'll be doing through the spring and into the summer. And then again in the fall, when these two planets retrograde back into Pisces. We're really being invited to trust our guidance, our intuition, source, God, whatever you relate to release the resistance, the gripping, the control, that South Node in Virgo, to trust the timing. It's something I've been having to do so much lately. The North Node is not our comfort zone. Remember that. The North Node is very much where we haven't been before. The South Node represents where we've been. It's like we've mastered that. This is bringing up karmic imprints that you hold in Virgo timelines, Virgo past lives, where you were in Virgo energy. It's going to be releasing those timelines. So pay attention to what's being released within you. What's coming up as shadow, where you're afraid to let go, where you're afraid to take that leap of faith. This North Node Neptune conjunction is opening pathways and doors for us to take quantum leaps. That doesn't mean it's going to be this dramatic opening where suddenly the gates open and we see exactly what we need to do. It's going to be these subtle shifts where we're asked to surrender more, to trust more, to deepen more, to return to our practices that soothe and nourish our systems as we take these great leaps of faith. This meeting point at 28 degrees of Pisces creates a powerful portal for this deep soul level evolution and awakening. Our evolutionary path, our North Node, that guide, merges with divine consciousness, Neptune. It's helping us dissolve the barriers between individual and collective experience. This isn't just about our own personal transformation, which is important. It's about our collective journey into higher consciousness, higher awareness. It's going to invite us to trust the mystery, the unknown, what we can't explain. That Virgo South Node is going to seek proof and evidence over the next 18 months. I don't think we'll have it. And we're going to need to be okay with that. This is an upgrade period where we're letting go of old patterns and old ways of relating to the unknown, the unseen, the mysteries, so that we can expand fully into the timelines that are available to us in this next chapter. If we try to stay hooked into those old 3D consciousness patterns and pathways, we'll miss this great opportunity to expand into the full potential of this golden age. So it's important to notice your patterning right now. Notice your ego, notice your fears, your shadows, what's coming up within you. Let it dissolve like mist. There's a great opportunity right now to do some very, very deep healing just by simply letting go. Dissolving the ego. The card that I pulled today for our group, our Soul Archaeology community, is the Wave card from the Untamed Elemental deck. And it's all about unity. It says, Wave's duration is unbounded. He loops consistently within his own tempo. He is fearless and valiant, peaking repeatedly through constant diligence. Forged by wind and initiated by the moon, he is a conundrum, both distinct and inseparable from the ocean. Each wave is unique and yet emanates, form, and returns to his mother element. His potential manifests as an eternal now. Wave rolls in as a reminder that you are part of something much greater than your own individual life. You are a fantastic and improbable expression of existence, the creative force that generates and organizes the life of every animal, star, snowflake, plant, and nebula in the universe. Also chose to experience itself uniquely and beautifully as you, and vice versa. Knowing yourself as an autonomous but inseparable participant in all of life helps allay painful perceptions of separation from others and even unclaimed parts of yourself. It opens you to the truth-filled salve that is safe to rest into your innate and magnificent connection with your wholeness and all of life. When it's balanced, an enjoyable sense of connection with oneself. When it's imbalanced, loneliness and isolation, a pervasive mistrust of one's intuition. To bring into balance, the sound of ocean waves balances the brain's hemispheres and helps bring forth an awareness of unity consciousness. Well, that was very appropriate, very Piscean. I actually love that metaphor for Pisces as the wave, because it's so true. And this journey through the last degree of the zodiac is complex, it's layered, and it really requires presence. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. It's a little bit longer. This was a big one. It feels very significant, and I think that in many ways, this time is calling us into a pretty profound time of healing. I've been working with the nodes so much since I really began working with astrology, and I'm so excited to tell you all that I'll be launching my North and South Node course soon. So if you have questions about what am I here to do? What am I here to heal? Why does this keep looping within me? This course will be super helpful. So I'll have a lot more info on that in the coming weeks when it's released. Thank you for being here, for your presence, for your attunement, for taking space for yourself. That's just so important. And I think it's the first step in this healing journey. So thank you. And thank you as always for sharing with friends, family, someone you think might benefit from this message. Sharing in social media, it means the world. Thank you. Thank you. I adore all of you and have a beautiful week.